This video is brought to you by World of Myths, a new strategy card game where you can play as a leader from your favorite mythology, gain reputation and prove yourself worthy, defeat your opponent by destroying gods or their temples. Jump into the gameplay by clicking the link down below. I'm excited to see you on the battlefield. What's up, everybody? My name is Jeff, and today we are going to have some fun playing Magic. Well, not playing Magic because we can't actually play this deck right now, but we have Knight's Charge! And this deck, we are going to be diving into the deck tech around this one. So, Knight's Charge, 3 converted mana cost enchantment. Whenever a knight you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Really fun. It's basically Cavalcade of Calamity for any knight. You don't have to be limited down to 1 power toughness creatures. Like, this is Sanctum Seeker on an enchantment. It's typically more difficult to deal with enchantments than it is creatures, and so being able to get this down on the battlefield with such an amazing ability of being able to gain life as well. And knights are really insanely powerful right now. In fact, you could even do a Knight's Charge with a Cavalcade of Calamity deck out there with some other of the knights coming out. We don't have them in Arena right now, so I decided to do a version that is just with the cards that are available to look at in Arena, even though we can't actually play these ones. So all of these ones that were in the Brawl decks, you can actually go in. If you go into this area, select not collected, it'll bring up all of your, let's go take off collected here. You'll see all of the Throne of Eldraine cards kind of come up in this area, or at least some of them with whatever else you don't have. And so that's how you can build these kinds of decks. Get ready to just see what it looks like. So I'm going to be spending, do a few of these ones before the actual pre-release event happens, which is coming up pretty soon for Throne of Eldraine. So let's dive into this deck. So Knight's Charge, so excited for. Basically what we want to do is get as many knights on the battlefield as we can to be able to swing in, each opponent losing 1 life. We're gaining life. If they die, it's not that big of a deal. We have a lot of value just in our creatures swinging in anyway. Foulmare Knight, I'm really excited for. It's actually really good. If it's good in the early game where it comes down as a 1 mana death touch creature, like a 1 mana 1/1 death touch is a very powerful thing. It's effective. It's annoying for other people. It slows down the game. We can be attacking with it consistently. With a Knight's Charge, it becomes a 2/1 basically, and we're gaining life. And so pretty good stuff there. Venerable Knight, whenever it dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on target knight you control, and it's just a Savannah Alliance type of thing. It's a 1 mana 2/1, so 2 power for 1 mana, exactly what we're looking for. Knight of the Even Legion. I don't have to go into how amazing this card is because you guys have seen it. So we have a lot of really good 1-drop knights, and there's more that are coming up, so it's going to be pretty insane. The hasty first striking 1 mana knight creature, or 1 red mana night creature, is going to be really good. Order of Midnight, this has been proven to be amazing. And whenever we can also return creatures back to our hand, if ever there's a board wipe or something, that's the typical worst case scenario for an aggro deck like this, is that we overcommit to the board, we finally get down Knight's Charge, they board wipe before we can really get value out of it. Order of Midnight can at least bring some of those cards back to our hand. It becomes a 2-for-1, especially in the late game. So really, really good. It also has flying, and so we can attack, and we have a lot of evasive knights, if you count Death Touch as evasive as well, which kind of it is, but still really powerful with Order of Midnight. Smitten Swordmaster, I'm playing 3 copies of these because of its Curie favor. We are trying to get out lots of knights really quickly. We are kind of just playing really, really aggressive knights. That's why it's called Knight's Charge, not just Knight's Charge. You know, it's aggro Knight's Charge. So Smitten Swordmaster, you can gain X life, and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of knights you control. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have at least tested out the adventure mode so far. You can cast the adventure side of it first. If you cast it first, then your creature, the card goes into exile. You can cast the creature side of it from exile at sorcery speed later on. I guess unless it has flash or something like that. We haven't seen any of those, I don't think, yet. But yeah, so you can, this is basically, yeah, you gain X life and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of knights we control. We are trying to build a board of like 4 to 5 knights consistently. So this is a 1 mana deal 5 to the opponent. In an aggro deck, that's amazing. And if you don't have that many creatures out there, you can just bring down a 2/1 lifelinker that's going to be hopefully getting stuff with Knight's Charge. Like, so we really want to find Knight's Charge, but this is another win condition. I do have it at 3 copies, partly because I'm trying to just play more fun stuff, and it may take the place of like the 3rd copy of Belle of the Brawl. In fact, that probably is where it comes in, the 4th copy. I'm interested to see how good Curie favor is, but I think it's actually going to be very powerful because knights can be very explosive in the amount that they can fill the board really quickly. Corpse Knight, for that same reason, is really powerful. So whenever another creature enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. We can get this out on turn 2 and then play like 3 1-drops on turn 3. And be swinging in maybe Knight's Charge the turn after that, and that's a pretty quick way to win the game. Also, Inspiring Knights. We don't have to keep all of our creatures down at 1 power like Cavalcade decks do, so Inspiring Veteran becomes very powerful. We can just win the game by just having tons of powerful creatures out on the battlefield. Sky Knight Vanguard, another evasive one that creates a soldier, which doesn't work with Knight's Charge, but another body on the battlefield to be getting value from with our actually, this is non-token creatures, but just from all of our, it's just good, you know, it's good. Don't worry about it. All right, so then we also have Belle of the Brawl, which I'm excited to test out. I'm not sure if this is a good card, or if it's just one of those like, man, it probably should be 2 of, and Smitten Swordmaster should come up to 4, or Corpse Knight coming up to 3. But Belle of the Brawl is a really good card overall, as far as whenever it attacks, other knights get +1/+0, so it does have that effect. It is a menace creature. It does help with Knight's Charge, where we're getting in value. We can maybe trade off a little bit better because of the 1 extra power that everything has. So it can be a very explosive card to have if we get to swing in with it, which being at 3 mana is not unfathomable. It's without fathom. All right, so Midnight Reaper as well, just a really amazing zombie knight. Like, we want to, the biggest downside of this deck is that we're not going to have lots of ways to refill our hand. So Midnight Reaper is kind of the best way for us to do that. That's what we're trying to go for. Sky Knight Legionnaire, flying and haste. I mean, exactly what you're looking for in an aggro knight deck. It's an evasive creature. It is at 3 mana, which is the reason I'm only running 2 copies of it. This is great in some instances, but I'm never really wanting 3 of these in my hand. I'm wanting 1, maybe 2 down the road. So maybe you could argue bringing this up to 3 copies, but I think 2 is an okay spot for this one right now. But it's really powerful. It's a really good card as well. Just, it is a little expensive. I would rather have more cheap creatures in this deck, and once we get the new knights, we're definitely going to be adding those into this. But again, I wanted to showcase what we actually have a visual way to look at right now. All right, Knight's Charge, the other side of this too, I forgot to mention, is the pay 8, sacrifice the enchantment, return all knight creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Well, just imagine this with 2 Corpse Knight in the graveyard, or 1 or 2, and that's why we may need to go up to 3 copies here as well. You get to bring back all knights from the graveyard to the battlefield. This is an instant speed thing, so we can do this on their end step, so they can't really board wipe after that point. Most people wouldn't be able to. And we could also just kill them by having Corpse Knights there as well. It is 8 mana, and we only have 20 lands in the deck because we're playing a very aggressive deck. So is it going to happen? Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you play enough games with this deck, it's going to happen at some point. But is it going to be a consistent game plan? Not really. But you could also just have the fun of, if you also have Sir Conrad out there as well, all of the knights coming back also do damage, and then Corpse Knight does damage. And I want to build a deck around just doing that so badly that it sounds really fun. And if you had 1 extra mana, you could also Smitten Swordmaster as well, or the Curry Favor, and do all of the damages. Anyway, that's kind of the idea. I would love to do just like a Mill Yourself Knight deck with Knight's Charge or some sort. I don't know. There's got to be some jankiness that you can do that would be really fun like that. 2 Conclave Tribunal. It's still the best removal spell. Prison Realm might be better in some instances, but with this deck, because we're already running a lot of 3-drops in a very aggressive deck, I decided, let's try to make this as cheap as possible, and the best way to do that is to just give it Convoke. We're going to be able to build up a board really quickly. Sky Knight Vanguard creates lots of tokens, all that kind of stuff. We should be able to use Conclave Tribunal to pay for this, or use Convoke to pay for this as needed pretty consistently. So that's kind of the deck. Oh, the other really amazing thing that we get from Throne of Eldraine, at least so far, I'm not a huge fan of the rare lands so far that have come in the basic colors, just because we absolutely needed dual colors for stuff like this, and so it really doesn't work great for our situation. But Tournament Grounds, and those ones, like, there can be good things. Instead of running these basic lands, whatever, we could use the new rare lands in that slot, but I do like having basic lands. Anyway, Tournament Grounds, you can add their Mardu colors for all knights or equipment. So we don't really have equipment. All we have is knights, but we have a ton of knights. We have 34 creatures in this deck, which is a lot. It's quite a few. We probably should be having a few more spells or answers involved with this deck, but I think that we're going in on the all aggro plan of just synergistic stuff with everything.
all of our spells kind of come with our adventure creatures. Our Smitten Swordmaster basically is a burn spell. We're sending everything at face as much as we can. Order of Midnight being able to, it's kind of card draw for us to bring us back. We want to be using these for those instances, at least there. And then Midnight Reaper, card draw advantage, and everything else is a little bit aggressive. We probably could have a little bit more removal in this deck, but I'm going for fun, guys. Like, just so you guys know, this is what I'm all about. I want to have fun playing Magic, and I'm going to build my decks all based around fun. And so if that you don't like that, well, you should. It's fun. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video in this deck. If you're excited to see this one played, leave it down in the comments below. I'll try to build this one out and play it as soon as possible. Once we get in the next week is when pre-release and all that kind of stuff starts happening. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Please like and subscribe, and bye-bye.